Morning, guys. Charles Williams here with another episode of Parking Lot Thoughts. You know, today is Dr. Seuss Day, or Read Across America Day, however you want to look at it. And so, of course, that got me thinking about reading and the role that reading now plays in education. You know, and it's funny, I hear a lot of people talk about the fact that kids don't like to read, right? Parents, adults, people don't like to read in general. And I say that's true for the most part. If you've ever been in a littles class, right, kindergarten, first grade, sometimes even second grade, the kids love it. They love to read. They love for you to sit down and read to them. So that brings up the question as to why this passion, right, this energy for reading kind of dissipates. Where does it go? And so if you've ever read, there's a book out there called Read Aside. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. But what it talks about is how we have essentially killed reading. Right, in our effort to enhance reading, we've killed it, and it's because of our approaches. Right, think about oftentimes reading is used as a punitive approach. You've done something wrong, so sit down and read. Right, sit down, read silently, and so reading then becomes attached with a punishment. Well, then nobody wants to do that. Right, the other side is that we push the traditional canons or books that have no interest, no relevancy to our students today, simply because it was a classic. It doesn't mean it's really connected to students now. So, for example, Romeo and Juliet. I love Romeo and Juliet, right? I was an ELA teacher for years. But there's also Julio and Rome, right? It's a current novel, same exact storyline, but set in modern day times where those concepts are still there, right? So my suggestion, as we look at reading today, is how can we promote that love for reading? How can we reignite that passion for reading? And so the first thing, and this is what I'm doing in my building right now, is allowing time for kids to read things that they want to read. Pick a topic, pick a medium, and read. I don't care what it is, as long as it's appropriate, and just read. And it's been interesting, the number of books my kids have read this year, simply because they get to read what they want to read, right? Once that passion comes back, right? Once that interest in reading comes back, then you could tackle some of those traditional canons, right? Then you could tackle those texts that are aligned to your assignments, aligned to those standards, and say, we're going to read these things. But kids then have a better appreciation. But it's very hard to do that when I don't want to read to begin with. So my recommendation, my thought is, breathe that love for reading. Give kids an opportunity to read those things that they want to read, and watch that passion for reading come back to life. So question for you today on Read Across America Day is, how are you going to promote the love for literacy in your classroom, in your school? Another episode of Parking Lot Thoughts. Charles Williams. I'll see you guys tomorrow.